everybody. My name is Jin Ben and welcome to our home church. For those of you joining us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our email list. Well, I certainly hope that everybody's holiday shopping is in full gear as we anticipate a lovely time with family and friends and opening up the gifts and all sorts of things. Well, you know, my husband and I, we are parents to a 2-year-old. So we were invited to go to his daycare because they were celebrating Christmas and they had a Christmas party for all the kids. And so the kids prepared their wonderful artwork and all the different projects that they had during this last fall term. And one of the things that caught my eye was this beautiful collage of different pictures of kids holding something up. You know, it had the child's name and the object that they were holding on to. So I was kind of asking my husband, you know, I wonder what this is all about. But later on, when the director of the daycare welcomed all the parents and all the kids and wished everyone happy holidays, she said, you know, I want to share this beautiful collage with all of you. And because the question that we asked these 2-year-olds were, what would you give to Jesus for Christmas? And so all of these pictures and the objects that they were holding on to were the gift that each child wanted to give to Jesus. And of course, you know, some kids wanted to share their koala bear, some kids wanted to share the fire truck, and different kids, you know, their favorite animals or different objects that have significant meaning for them. But the interesting thing about our son is that when the question was asked, what would you give to Jesus Christ? He picked a doll and said, a baby. He wanted to give Jesus Christ a baby for Christmas. And so my husband and I thought, why is it that children are so ahead of the game in terms of being in tune with the universe? And if we really kind of ask ourselves, well, you know, what is the greatest gift that the Messiah really wants in his life? Well, we realize that Messiah came. Jesus came as the Son of God to find a beautiful wife that he can call his own and stand together as the true parents of all mankind and start or embark on a journey to build an ideal family or a beautiful family and really experience what it means to have a parental heart. And you can only do that when you start having children of your own. But we know that Jesus Christ never had a chance to have his family, never had a chance to really find a person to call his wife. And we know that his mission was cut short because he died on the cross. And so, in many respects, the picture of Christianity as we know it today is not the completed picture, is not the full picture. And therefore, the image of the Father and the Son is all-encompassing. It's omnipresent. But the feeling or the image of the mother or the daughter has been absent in the history of Christianity for many, many years, because Jesus Christ never had a chance to find that woman and to really stand together as the true parents. So we had to fast forward 2,000 years later for my father, the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, to be called by God and embark on his mission to really help the world realize that we belong to one family under God and that it is our responsibility to bring in or to usher in a world of peace. And so, in a way, the incredible work that the Second Coming or the Reverend Sun Myung Moon has done in his lifetime is to find that woman who can stand in the position of victorious Eve together with him and stand together as the true parents, completing the picture. So whereas the history of Christianity, the picture of father and son was dominant, but many times we couldn't understand or we couldn't place the feminine because the feminine never had a chance to take flesh. So all we had in Christianity was the Holy Spirit. But now with true parents, that Holy Spirit is made flesh, and father and mother can stand together as the true parents of all mankind and start sharing the gift of the blessing, really helping humankind to graft on to the original olive branch and start building beautiful families centered on God's lineage. And so if we understand what an incredible gift it is for all of us who have really lived and worked and prayed and cried together with the Reverend Sun Myung Moon and together with the true parents, it's an absolutely pivotal moment in history. And to think that we are still partaking of that is absolutely phenomenal. And so when I think about, what do we want to give God and true parents and Jesus Christ and all the great saints and all the great men and women up in spirit world? Well, perhaps this is a wonderful time to ask ourselves that question. But we realize that with the victory of true parents, we realize that it took a very, very long time for Father to restore providential history, for him to really stand in the position as the victorious Adam. And certainly for a true mother, it took many, many years for the Messiah to finally proclaim her as the victorious Eve. And that didn't take place until 33 years after the holy marriage of the Lamb, when my father and my mother were blessed and they became the true parents. And so the history of womankind has been waiting for the day when the Messiah can really proclaim that one woman as that victorious Eve. So many people during this time of confusion are saying, well, the true family doesn't seem to be doing too well. Let's look at other families. But they don't understand the importance of true mother's position. There may have been other mothers in father's life, but nobody can stand in the position as the victorious Eve after restoring the 33 years, the road of crucifixion that true mother had to walk. And father, as the witness, had to proclaim true mother as that victorious Eve, in essence, simultaneously liberating womankind from the understanding of women as second-class citizens, somebody who needed to be silenced in the church or in the home, somebody that should live in the shadows where the man goes first. This is the first time when true father says, now mother, you need to start moving forward. You need to start being the leader. You need to start proclaiming the word. You need to start going on speaking tours and let me sit back and watch you do your tours and partake of this great deliverance that you are sharing with all of mankind. And so it's an incredible time for any women who are student of religion, because in essence, the Messiah comes and finding his true Eve, and the Eve, the person standing in the position of Eve, going through restoring that road of crucifixion 33 years, so that Father, the messianic figure, can finally proclaim her as the victorious Eve. It should be a day of celebration for all the women all around the world, because then now we can claim our equal worth as sons and daughters of God that we lost because of the fall. For the first time in history, we can stand proud as God's sons and daughters, God's true sons and true daughters. That's why our true mother is incredibly important. And that's why the true family is important. Because the true family is the Messiah's first family, or the first full position foundation. You cannot be a true father without God, true mother, and true children. You cannot be a true mother without God, true father, and true children. Sometimes I hear people saying all sorts of things. And, there's so much confusion, so much chaos. Just get rid of the children, or just get rid of the family and start over. But how do you start over when you destroy the roots? The very root that all of providential history came waiting, hoping, and praying that Messiah will be the true owner of. We have to honor the sanctity of father and mother's position as the true parents. And we have to honor the true family as the first four-position foundation, or the Messiah's first family. And understanding that as the incredible core that it is, then we start going forward with our own families, building our own tribes, and really becoming not just, as Dr. Epstein calls, the artificial extension of adolescence, where we are just perennially children. But with our true parents, we become young adults, or people responsible. People who are taking ownership of their 5% responsibility, become tribal messiahs, doing their own home church, you and me, and going forward and sharing the breaking news with all the men and women of the world. So it's an incredible, incredible time. And so when I hear disgruntled talks here and there about, well, if true parents are so important, why is there so much confusion and chaos? Well, why is there so much darkness in our movement? Well, sometimes we have to learn to embrace the darkness in order to see how truly magnificent the suns and the stars are. Sometimes we need to experience the dark to realize how incredibly blessed we are. And for each and every one of us going through difficult trials and tribulations, and they say that it's always around this holiday season when people who are alone or away from their families suffer the most. And, it's duly noted that this is a time when suicides and people trying to hurt themselves takes place quite a bit. And it's because these men and women, they don't understand why they're lost. They're not really sure what they should do. And, their life is so difficult. And many times our brothers and sisters are saying, why is there confusion? Why is there chaos? Why is all of this? But a simple answer is, sometimes there is darkness, just so that God can remind us to appreciate the light. And I know from my own experience, in some of my difficult moments in my life, of course, I went through periods where I prayed, where I fasted, where I did conditions. But some of my most poignant or profound moments have been just looking outside the window and when my kids have gone to bed. And there is this wonderful quiet in the house. And it's pitch black outside. But sometimes I would raise the windows and I would stick my head out and just look at the brilliant moon. And the moon reminded me, it doesn't matter how dark the night is. God is always there. The light is always there. It doesn't matter how difficult or different trials and tribulations we are going through. The light is always there. God is always there. True parents are always there. Jesus Christ are always there. And sometimes I would I would gaze upon the moon, and I would see my father and my mother's face smiling back at me. And I know that if you, during moments of your difficulty, just took a look outside and gazed at the beautiful moon, you very well might see Father smiling back at you from the heavens. And so where there is shadow, you know there is light. You know, sometimes it's the darkness and the shadow that makes the light more profound. And many times things have to get worse before it can get better. But the good news is that Father gave us this passage in August 28, 1991. And for me, when I read this passage, it's kind of like a gift of sorts. It's Father saying, hey, you know, you may be dealing with a lot, but the 21st century, I can see, is going to be a great century. And Father talks about, in this passage, he says, the 21st century shall be a century of righteousness. And of course, whenever, you know, we students of religions come upon the word righteousness, you know, that's a loaded word. And many people understand it as, you know, morally right or as moral justification. But Father goes on to explain what he means by righteousness. He says, the 21st century shall be a century of righteousness. It will be a century of spirit and soul, when wealth will not be the dominating factor. It will be a century when God and human beings live together as one. A new awareness will come to every person that living for the sake of others has eternal value, far greater than living for oneself. In the 21st century, selfishness will decline. The altruistic values of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values will be triumphant. So when I look at this passage, Father says that the 21st century will be a century of spirit and soul. And sometimes when I looked upon my world, I would often pray to God, you know, we really need chicken soup for this modern age. You know, the chicken soup, the Jewish penicillin, as many Jewish mothers call it. But we need healing. We need healing of the spirit, and we need healing of the soul. In a way, this is a time when the work of the Holy Spirit becomes incredibly important to heal and uplift and nurture and empower the spirit and soul, because these two things are going to be the trademark of the 21st century. It's not wealth, it's not power, it's not knowledge. It will be a century when God and human beings live together as one. The way I understand it is home church. God is home. This is where brothers and sisters, sons and daughters become empowered men and women of God and take up the responsibility of becoming tribal messiahs. And a new awareness will come to every person. There is kind of this collective wisdom that is moving forward towards a time when selfishness will decline. And no longer will we be looking just for temporal value, but we will be looking for the eternal value of living for the sake of others, learning how to practice giving and receiving the beauty of true love. Isn't that absolutely magnificent? And the altruistic values of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values will be triumphant. This is an incredible gift for anybody thinking doom and gloom when they think about the world. Father is saying selfishness will decline. A new awareness will come when people will start searching for these eternal values of living for the sake of others. And the things that we kind of understood as the strength of the feminine. Here we go. There's a reason why Father proclaimed the importance of the Pacific Rim era, because the feminine spirit and the feminine character has been absent in the history of Christianity. But with the advent of true parents, the feminine needs to come out, whether we like it or not. And it's coming out in full force. And, when we were really kind of in this mission mode of surviving in the wilderness, we were dealing with very, very kind of masculine characteristics of independence, master of the universe, be the great captain, bring the most results. And I am right, I am the truth because I know the divine principle. But in the time of the settlement, when we actually have to settle down, not continue as these roving tribes or bands of people that were, knocking on doors on MFT fundraising teams, but actually staying put and raising families, learning how to become a loving spouse to our husband or wife, a loving parent to our child. This is a totally different animal from surviving in the wilderness. Now we have to learn how to thrive as a family, in the context of a community, in the context of a society. And we realize that when we start thinking about building families, we can no longer be ruled by purely masculine characteristics that have characterized many of our brothers and sisters' life in the survival of the wilderness time. And instead of independence, we have the coming forward or the awareness that, hey, we are not an island unto ourselves. We need to work with each other. This concept of interdependence, we have to learn how to work with each other. And instead of thinking, I am the master of the universe, I am the captain of my team, and I am there to rule my designated area, we have to think about what Father calls mutual prosperity. It's not about me being successful above all and above everybody else, but it's through serving other people that we become mutually prosperous. Because when we serve other people, when we help to inspire, empower, and help them be connected people, then it's kind of like creating this incredible, invisible, dynamic energy that comes back. And the more you serve, the more prosperous you can be, and so on and so forth. So instead of I being the master of the universe, now we can work towards being mutually prosperous. And instead of the characteristic that I am right, I am the truth, I am the know-it-all, and you better listen to me, and there's nothing, what I'm saying is the black and white, and there is no middle ground. Instead of that kind of way of thinking, Father is saying that the 21st century will be when altruistic values such as universally shared values will become incredibly important. Instead of saying, I'm right and you're wrong, black and white, think about common denominators. How can we work together despite our differences so that in our unity we become stronger? There is no unity when there's only one opinion. You only have unity when you have diversity of opinion coming together for the common good and working together for mutual prosperity and in the spirit of interdependence. That is what is going to move the 21st century forward. So when we read and when we look at this, Father is basically saying, look, this is a time when our spirit and our soul needs to be recharged. And the qualities that have been lacking in the history of Christianity now need to come forward to complete the picture. And so during the time of the settlement, if we are to really ask ourselves, well, what would we give to God and true parents, during this holiday season? Well, I think the greatest gift that we can give to God and true parents is, well, my son would say a baby, but a baby to Jesus Christ. But I think the best gift that we can give to God and true parents is to really be that incredible son and a daughter of God that becomes a living testament of all the precious words that Father has left behind. And not only did Father leave his precious words, but he left incredible assets in our care. So it is our job, those brothers and sisters, you and me, it is our job to really safeguard these precious assets for the future generation. So the preservation of the Barrytown College and UTS is incredibly important in that when Father gave the signature for the Barrytown College and the seminary on April 17th, 2012, one of the things that he said to me later on was that this place really needs to become the birthplace of future leaders. And it really needs to be the birthplace of world peace. And Father said, I prepared everything for you. Father prepared these heavenly words. Father prepared these incredible precious assets. And Father said, now you have to bear fruit. So Father was challenging me. Now you have to bear fruit because Father prepared everything. And when I share these words that Father shared with me, it's true Father and true parents really challenging us. You know, are we bearing fruit? Are we being a living testament of our faith? Are we doing all that we need to continue our true Father's legacy? And true Mother said very clearly to the HSA board, figure out a way, make it work. So it's the job of our brothers and sisters, different people sitting in different positions, working for the church. It's our job to preserve these assets and safeguard it for the sake of our second gen and third gen and all the new members that will be coming to this college and the seminary in the future. And I feel that if we can really do that, you know, we are going to be an incredible group of people that is going to be the major tipping point to a whole new century of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. Because guess what, brothers and sisters? Whether you and I get on the bandwagon and start working on this or not, the universe is already moving that way. There is the natural collective consciousness that is moving providential history along. Now, how incredible would it be if we just give it a little turbo boost, give it a little moon boost? Wouldn't that be incredible? And then have Father up in spirit world can be looking at you and me and our children and our families saying, these are my beautiful children. And finally, they're getting it. Finally, they understand what I was saying 30 years ago when I was preaching the importance of I am church. They get it now. Can you imagine how gloriously happy our true Father and our Heavenly Parent will be up in heaven? And our true Mother will be happy in Las Vegas? Wouldn't it be great if we can share the great results that Heavenly Parent and our true parents are waiting for? Well, I think that would be the most incredible gift. And so please think about this during this holiday season. And we certainly hope that all of you will be safe and well on to the welcoming of the new year. Ben and I really want to thank all of you for those who have written in your email on shared personal histories. Many times they have been the key ingredient that just kept us going through many difficult schedulings that we've had to deal with. But Thus far, Ben and I really have to say that it's been an honor and a privilege to be your pastor here, and the tech guy and the singer at iHome Church. And we wish you warm and lovely and happy and healthy holiday season. So thank you and God bless. For those of you who have questions and comments, please leave them below the video or go to enginemoon.com and use the contact form. And for those of you joining us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our email list. And if you would like to contribute to our work here at iHome Church, just click on the donate button. Thank you.